Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Black Law and Legal Lies, where we specialize in bringing you current, updated, yeah, that too, and the news.
Wait,
We are changing our format to bring you the news, ladies and gentlemen. Today on Capitol Hill. I'm from DC and I don't even know what the fuck Capitol Hill is.
that's because you're a dummy.
Man, that shit.
I've been to Capitol Hill.
It's like, and then, that shit be fuck. I'm Dan, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan, aka Dan on Drugs. You can keep up with me on Twitter and on IG at I am Dan on Drugs. You can keep up with the show across all platforms at Black Law Podcast. And don't forget, merch, our store, online, blacklawpodcast.com/shop, and rocking another shirt today. So yeah,
Wow.
check it out.
And I'm Just Dan, and you can follow me on Twitter at I Tell Legal Lies. Thanks for supporting the podcast.
By buying shirts. We really appreciate it. Man, yeah, back to DC. Yo, it's funny. Every time someone comes from out of town and they're like, the mall, and they get there, you take them to the mall, they're like, fuck is this? This ain't no mall. This is what we call, where I'm from, a field. Nah, this the mall, son. That should be funny, man. So today we're gonna take a serious approach.
Wait, well, let me stop, because I was about to say we are always serious. I am always serious. You, on the other hand, have serious mental illness. So we're always serious.
Now, my mental illness is serious. It really is. But don't let that cloud your judgment. See, the worst thing you can do to somebody with a mental illness is try to dismiss them because of
No,
their
I don't
mental
dismiss
illness.
you because you're crazy. I dismiss you because you're crazy.
See, exactly. And then you wonder why people like me, you know what? I ain't even gonna feed into that stereotype. No, but seriously, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna start off with Amber Hagerman. Now, I'm sure a lot of people don't know who the fuck that is. Until today, I didn't know who the
But
fuck
there's
that
a clue.
is. Yeah,
You said Amber. There's
there
a
is
clue.
a clue. So, Amber Renee, I don't know. I think white people
You
go
don't-
with Renee.
You don't have to do middle names.
I have to do middle
You
name.
don't have to do middle names.
I have to, because it's right here on the screen and I'm reading.
Oh, so you have
I can't
to read.
skip stuff.
You can't paraphrase. You have
Nope.
to read everything
Nope.
that's on the screen.
I think white people do go with Renee, though.
I know somebody that's white named Renee.
Me too.
I know somebody that's black named Renee as well. I think Renee is Renee, whether it's white or black. Could you skip this foolishness?
I know Arini.
That's because you colored. Anyway.
Amber Hagerman. She was a young girl abducted while riding her bike with her brother in Arlington, Texas. A neighbor who witnessed the abduction called the police, and Amber's brother, Ricky, went home to tell his grandparents what happened. On hearing the news, Hagerman's father, Richard, called Mark Klaas, whose daughter, Polly, had been abducted and murdered in Petaluma, California on October 1st, 1993.
You know
Why
what?
would you make that call? Your daughter's missing.
To find out what to do, maybe?
Okay. So Richard and Amber's mother called the news media and the FBI. They and their neighbors started searching for Amber.
I still can't believe you really just read this shit.
No, I actually paraphrased that. I paraphrased that part right there. I could go back and read it, but 4 days after the abduction, near midnight, Amber's body was discovered in a creek behind an apartment complex with severe laceration wounds to her neck. The site of her discovery was less than 5 miles away from where she went missing. As of today, there are no suspects in her abduction and homicide. And just a quick aside, that's the same year that Bill Clinton passed the created the National Sex Offender Registry list. So her parents were pivotal in I guess petitioning for more to be done when children go missing, which is why we do
Congress,
have
period. Like, yeah, they took her story and the stories of other missing and exploited children to Congress. And that is what created the Amber Alert system.
now. I'm gonna be honest too. When these Amber Alerts came out, this well, let me fast forward to smartphones to where we all walk around with these little magic computers in our pockets that just tell us everything and keep us connected to the world.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm sitting at my house, right, 2 o'clock in the morning, this has happened.
That's correct.
What the Amber Alert? 4 hours away from here. Fuck off my phone with that shit.
Just to let you know, just because it happened 4 hours away from here does not mean that this person could not have these children in your neck of the woods, as El Roker
I
would
saw
say.
this funny ass IG video, right? And it's
Lord.
like the IG video was done by some, IG comedians, but it was like how people expect you to act during an Amber Alert. So it shows all these dudes at home playing Call of Duty, talking shit on their headphones. Yeah, and they Amber Alert. They all throw their games down and they all go running down the street chasing cars. It's like that's not gonna happen. Most people, they're either gonna say "damn" and ignore it, but no one's gonna go out here and look for a blue Honda
That
Civic.
is not. It is what the Amber Alert and like these excuse me, emergency alerts and all these other systems, they're not designed for you to jump up and start running out and playing junior detective to see if you can find these people. They are for awareness. They, they are alerting you to the fact that something has happened, and they want you to be aware of your surroundings so that if by chance you are in a mall and you see the car that's described, or you see a man with these children and X, Y, they want you to be aware of your surroundings because believe it or not, you mentioned these computers that we have in our pockets and how they're supposed to keep us connected to the world. They actually disconnect us. And more, we are not aware of what is around us because we're more in tuned and aware of what's going on our smartphones.
Face in the phone.
I mean, everybody has seen this happen, has probably done it. I know I'm guilty myself. In a restaurant, at a table, 5 people, and instead of talking amongst each other, we're all on our cell phones texting somebody else. Same thing happens, house party. Supposed to be partying, mixing and mingling. How many times have you seen people sitting on sofas, sitting at tables, texting or going live and putting it out there? So
that I hate that shit. I hate that whole going live. And it's like, real quick, not to interrupt, but specifically to interrupt.
Yes.
I hate seeing that shit at, let's say, you remember how we used to do the little runs, like the 5Ks, color run, this, that, and the other. Now, yeah, we would snap some pictures before the run and after the run, but you would have people on live, like running the whole race. And it's like, how can you possibly be enjoying this if you're so caught up in trying to capture it? Why be a participant? Just go stand on the side and film shit.
Right. So to go back to what I said at the very beginning, these are not for you to play junior detectives. This is to alert and make you aware. This is to basically break us out of the little boxes that we put ourselves in, namely our smartphones, make us aware of our surroundings. Be on the lookout. Be aware so that maybe because honestly, Amber Alerts have worked. They have worked. They have actually caused children to be recovered. They have been.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to remember hearing that,
They have.
later in the show we'll get into that.
Now, I didn't say it was 100% effective. I said they have worked. Thank you.
So the only time, well, let's just get into this.
Wait, you just jumped in. You didn't even tell them what the show topic was. I guess
I'm sure they're catching on.
I guess he wanted you to figure it out. Play Junior Detective.
Missing kids, Amber Alert.
No, but what our show topic is today, true, it is about missing kids, but it's about missing children of color and how disproportionately, they are the largest segment of missing children, but they get less time media coverage, in spite of the fact that out of over 400,000 missing kids, children of color make up 37%. Keep in mind that children of color only make up 14% of children in the United States, period.
So it's pretty much like the prison population.
Basically. So, yes.
So, now here's some of the things, because we are going to get into children of color. But prior to doing that, so we talked about the Amber Alert, how the Amber Alert came to be, missing white girl in Texas. Now, there are guidelines for issuing an Amber Alert.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5 guidelines. The first one is law enforcement confirms an abduction. So they have to confirm it.
Right.
Just because you say, yo, my kid is missing or whatever, there also has to be a risk of serious bodily injury or death.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense would say if my child has been abducted, there is a risk of serious bodily injury or death, but not always the case. You have to have sufficient descriptive information.
Right.
That from state to state, actually, that varies what that information is.
Right.
And the age of the child. The child has to be under 18 years old.
Mm-hmm. I'll get back to, I was about to say something. I'll get back to that thought. But not black people specifically, but Hispanic people. They are more inclined not to call the police if their child goes missing. And the reason they're not inclined to do that is because they fear deportation. Not saying that every Hispanic person in the United States is here illegally, but
most of them.
In the Hispanic community, if you're not here illegally, you may be harboring someone who is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your child goes missing. You don't want to involve the police because involving the police may lead to something else. At least that's your thought. So as far as the Hispanic community, they don't want to call the police and we've mentioned this in former shows. They don't want to call the police because of that. And that's with everything, domestic violence, people break into your house. Like, they don't want law enforcement involved at all because of fear that, hey, they go find something, somebody's going to be deported, X, Y, and Z.
Let me jump in too and tell you this. Back in my days where I was involved in some less than legal things, let's face it, everybody at some point has to call the police. I was staying with a cousin of mine, right? They were getting into a physical altercation.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin's person he was in an altercation with grabs a knife. My dumb ass jumps in front of it like Superman and shit. I'm like, bitch, you gonna put that knife away. And luckily I was scary enough because I'm thinking because
She put the knife away.
Yeah, I was quiet back then. Like I wouldn't say a word to anybody. So when I spoke, it was like,
oh yeah, he
oh,
crazy.
shit.
And yeah, we don't want nothing to happen.
So while that was going on, though, like first they were just arguing and pushing and shoving and blah blah blah. I'm breaking up a pound of weed on his coffee table, right? And bagging the shit up. All this shit's going on. I'm like, whatever. So then the knife, I'm like, oh shit, bitch, you better put that knife up.
Cause
And
now I'm gonna have to get this weed and put it somewhere. Cause if I gotta call the
wait,
cops,
she called the cops. And like within minutes, I got all this shit on the coffee table. I take the Washington Post and I spread that shit over top of all of it. And I sit there and I pray. I'm like, man.
right?
But before you call the cops, you got to make sure that
You don't have shit
clean.
in your house,
Yeah.
right? And see, so as far as people of color, one, there's a distrust between us and law enforcement, Black people specifically. Two, your house might not be too clean. And I'm not talking about is dirty in the sense that there's dust
You need
and
a maid.
grime. No. You might have a gun there that you should not have. You know, you might, like Dan said, paraphernalia, anything. You know, cops walk in and you allow them to come in. They see something, that's your ass.
Mhm.
So, you
And
know,
even if they don't, though, with a missing child, a lot of the times, and they won't say this publicly.
they suspect you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Like Casey Anthony, every from the time she called, everyone knew,
Yep.
but they did not publicly treat her as
like
a suspect.
mhm. So yeah, you are a suspect. So that's another reason. And two, especially with people of color, when you report someone missing, the very first thing, and it's biased, police are biased against us. The very first thing they'll do is say, oh, they ran away. You know, and so then you have to fight with the police basically to have them hear you and get over that hurdle. No, my child did not run away. My child had no reason to want to run away. Because, you know, that's the very first thing that they say.
Depending on the child's age, yeah.
You know, did they run away? What X, Y, and Z? And so, but then there's a resource problem. You know, unlike, you know, you mentioned the hunters
Mm-hmm.
and these people on ATVs and all this other stuff. Most Black families are single parent families. And then you have other kids. So you don't have time to leave your job to constantly go to the police station, or you don't have resources to put behind private detectives, or, you know, something that more affluent people may have access to. So more often than not that it's underreported, it's reported, but it's swept away.
Yo, again, referencing Marie, who we had on the show, whose son was murdered. We, like, in talking to her, she was doing that. She was actually calling the detective every day.
Mhm.
Hey, what's up? Do y'all got any leads? And then the detectives actually started ignoring her. So then she started going down to the station.
Mhm.
Hey, what's up? I've been calling you. Y'all got any leads? Y'all got any? And she, like, for a month, every day. But I mean, she's a different person than, I guess, your typical people of colorish. She a person of colorish. But most people don't know the system.
And
she knows the system.
And like you said, and that's another point that I was going to make. A lot of people don't know what to do, and they don't know what resources are available to them in a situation like this. So, you know, your child goes missing. Most people think you have to wait 24 hours or 48 hours
Bullshit.
to actually go and file a missing persons report. That is false.
That is bullshit. And
Right. That is
but you know
false.
what though? A lot of these 911 operators
We'll tell you that same
they'll
thing.
ask that question. Have they been gone for more than 24 hours? Like I was reading something about this earlier. They won't specifically say you can't report a person if they have not been gone for 24 hours, but they will ask, have they been gone for more than 24 hours? Now, your typical average Joe Blow has heard that, on so many occasions they have to be
Mm-hmm.
gone for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll stop and be like, "Oh, well,
Okay, well, I'm gonna just
no."
call back.
Yeah.
But that is false. If it's 5 hours, you can file a report. You can
If it's 5 minutes, shit.
right. You can file a report. That is something, as I said, people don't know the system. They don't know the laws. So what they have is hearsay. They have the Matlock version of law enforcement.
Mhm.
So, you hear things on TV, you hear things in the street. So because we are uninformed, we lack resources, there's a distrust of law enforcement, period. And there's this bias against people of color as far as law enforcement is concerned. More often than not, as I said, children of color are neglected. They get less media attention. And as I said at the top of the show, 37% of over 400,000 missing children are children of color. And I think that percentage is higher because statistically, the people who compile these statistics, they group white and Hispanic children together. So you really don't know how many Hispanic, the percentage of Hispanic children are missing. So that 37% is probably higher than that. So
Now check this out. I was reading a couple of things. Let's jump back to the Amber Alert real quick so I can close this tab.
mhm.
The retrieval rate,
Okay.
according to the DOJ, the children abducted and murdered by strangers, 75% are killed within the first 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Amber Alerts are designed to inform the general public quickly when a child is being kidnapped and is danger, so the public would be additional eyes and ears of law enforcement. As of August 2013, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children estimates that 657 children have been successfully recovered.
How many?
657
Okay.
children have been successfully recovered as a result of the existence of the Amber Alert program. So that's out of 2,000 children a day are abducted.
Right.
So that's a very low track record. But what it's enough to do is let's say a father, right? A
Mhm.
father's not allowed to see his kids.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the school. The school knows that this is the father. He picks his kid up from
And he
school.
snatches them.
Right.
Mhm.
And then the mother calls and is like 911, yo, when they do an Amber Alert, that like in specific situations like that, the father's gonna get the Amber Alert and he's gonna be like, oh shit. Man, fuck. Or the rest of the family, somebody else in the family that knows that he picked up that child. That's where I can see it really working. But for like total strangers, I can't see it. And there's been other studies that by outside parties that disagree with the official results as far as 657 children being
Rescued
recovered.
or
Yes.
recovered.
So that's just that. And then the effects on traffic.
You know what? Shut up. Wait, well, I have a statistics since we're like shooting these statistics out, and I keep mentioning media coverage because honestly, how many times do you see children of color on TV missing? You mentioned Casey Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
How often was Casey Anthony in the news?
Man, that bitch was in the news every day like she was a fucking celebrity.
So, how many times have you actually seen a person of color, a child of color, get that much media coverage?
Gary Coleman.
Stupid. So there was a study about 3 years ago that said that basically the result of which was, although children of color make up around, as I said, 37% of missing children in the FBI's database, they only received 7% of media references. So once again, a missing black person, a missing black child is not newsworthy. And that within itself shows you how much we're valued by society. Honestly, that not 100%, but that's a part of, like, we make up media coverage when black person kills somebody.
When you take a knee at the damn football game.
Right. When a black person kills somebody, when a black person is being subversive by protesting police brutality, when anything that's negative, then media. I mean, how long was OJ on TV?
Man, and I look at that as a positive, though. I mean, I'm saying, but look, what they want to do, what white America wants to do is they not only do they disregard us as people, but when your child goes missing and you're on the news every day, not even every day, you're on the news crying, somebody bring my baby back with, it makes you look like a bad parent. It really does. The reason I say that is you get that 5-minute news spot, child abducted, ma'am, sir, if someone's out here listening, what would you like to say? Please bring my baby back or whatever. And that's it. You never hear any more from these people of color. So what that does is that makes you look like a bad parent, because you're not the family that's on the news every week, every other week, with the media circus outside your house. We don't get media circuses in the hood. Even when niggas get shot, we don't get a media circus. You get a drive up, let's get the shot, and let's get the fuck out of here.
Right.
So what you'll have is people at home saying, should have kept a better eye on their kids. They should have been watching their kids. Psh. Makes us look bad.
Well, guess that is one motivation. But as I said, the relationship that we have with the media and white America has always been, we've talked on the show about how we're portrayed in the media. We're never portrayed as good people. Black people historically, the roles that black people played on TV were pimps, drug dealers, prostitutes, anything of a negative connotation. Those were the roles that were earmarked for people of color.
Dolomite is my name and kicking ass is my game.
Thug 1, Thug 2, Rapper 1, Rapper 2, Gangbanger 1, Gangbanger 2.
That's been throughout history.
Exactly. And that's why I was saying, so historically, our imagery, the imagery that we are portrayed as has been negative. So you basically fast forward, why would I then, I'm not worth much. So why would I then constantly put you on TV?
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
And let's go back to Marie again. I remember seeing her on the news twice. 2 times after her son was murdered 3 years ago. Last month, I think it was. She was on the news 2 times. And they still don't have anyone charged or in jail with that. Right. So, yeah, we do get tossed aside. So the other thing I wanted to add to the conversation, though, is the aspect of sex trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is big. It's happening in every single major city.
And I think
No, they not there no more. I got rid of them.
and something that we were talking about on a previous show, we can bring that in. Did we talk about it? We kind of alluded to it about the foster care system, and you said sex trafficking. You know, we talk about how we are disproportionately represented in the missing children population. We are also disproportionately represented in the foster care system. And more often than not, Dan read this interesting article that he passed on about the foster care system and how it's like a pipeline to sex trafficking. Because more often than not, these children that are in foster care, even though there is supposed to be someone who actually checks on them,
shit,
they don't.
There was that one case in D.C. too. Me and P talked about it on a previous episode of Black Law, actually. But the caseworker, whoever's supposed to go out to the house and check on the kids, went, knocked on the door, didn't get an answer, wrote in their report, everything's okay, came back out again another time, same thing, no answer, wrote in their report, everything was okay. The children had been dead for 90 days. They found the body of the foster child in a freezer in the basement. And like 90 days, that's 3 months. And they were going out there like weekly, every other week. And this dude was just falsifying shit saying, yeah, I saw the kids, everything
was great. So think about that. You know, these children go missing from foster care. And who reports them missing?
Nobody.
Not the foster parents, because they're still getting paid.
They're getting that check, yeah.
Not the caseworkers whose job is actually to ensure that this child is safe in foster care. And I don't know, do you have the that article with the statistics? Because you were saying in the article it actually mentions, or it tells you the percentage of foster children that go missing each year.
A lot.
That you don't hear about.
A lot. And they like to say again, run away, run away,
exactly.
run away.
And they are tagged immediately as they ran away.
So with the whole sex trafficking thing, these children are getting caught up in that shit, especially minority children. And for some reason, now I was watching these documentaries, either on, I'm famous for watching them, I want to say on Vice or somewhere. Minority children actually have a higher going rate in sex trafficking versus white children. And I'm going to say it's because of the stigma that comes along with, yo, hold up. I ain't fuck with no white children. Nah, that's too much heat, son. That's too much heat. Oh, a little black. But then I'm looking at too. I'm rambling here, but I'm looking at, we're starting to see even our celebrities. Let's look at Janet Jackson. Let's look at Mariah Carey. They have these billionaires. And in my eyes, the shit looks kind of funny when these exotic women to these billionaires are becoming like accessories, basically. And
because Janet Jackson goes and marries a Saudi billionaire.
Yeah. And Mariah Carey, I think she got engaged to some billionaire. There's a few others. They're like collecting us. They're collecting people of color as accessories.
Oh, so
Meghan Markle.
Look, I was. You didn't let me. I was about to name some people. Meghan was gonna be on there. So would you say also that Eve is an accessory?
Oh, fuck yes. I forgot about her. Eve, yeah.
Wait, really?
So
Eve, Meghan Markle and Eve.
Yeah,
they're Janet Jackson. They're all accessories.
Let's look at it, and let's be honest, real quick. Meghan Markle, I'd fuck her, yes, but Is she hot? She's okay.
Wait, so why would you fuck her if
I
she
fuck
wasn't hot?
damn near anything. So
Not-
I'm saying,
Is that real? Is that true? Because that's not what I know of you. That I mean, you're
I have standards now. Just hold a paper bag up and she meets
lies.
No, but seriously, Meghan Markle ain't all that. Now
She's cute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She's okay.
But just to let you know, Prince Harry ain't all that either.
But that nigga's royalty.
And what?
Jay-Z, Beyonce,
Okay.
Jay-Z, that nigga look like a camel roach. And he got the baddest bitch in the game. But
it's a money thing, man.
Exactly. So with that kind of money and power, you like again, Prince Harry was probably sitting at home watching Suits and was like, damn, I want to fuck Rachel Zane. Let me go holler at her right quick. Because she for royalty, she ain't all that.
I mean,
she looks good. Don't get me wrong.
Just to let you know, Diana wasn't all that either.
Royalty.
Shit, I don't give a damn. Kate ain't all that either.
Yeah, by British or English standards, I think she is. Not by my standards, but
okay. But Meghan Markle still got a beat.
Yeah, I'd beat.
Stupid. Meghan Markle is 20 times better looking than Kate Middleton.
To us, yeah.
To anybody, fuck, it's empirical. It is not.
Have you seen the British tabloids?
It's not subjective.
To us, it isn't. But have you seen the British tabloids? Do you hear what British people say?
Yes.
They do not agree with that
hate
sentiment.
Her.
Right.
They hate, but the reason why they hate her is because she's black. It's not because of who she is. It's because of what she is.
But if you hate her because she's black, that means you can't find black attractive.
And for the most part, they don't.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not for the royal family, at least.
That's what I'm saying. So back to the point of the show here.
Mm-hmm. Since you took us down this wormhole.
I'm just saying. I wanted to put it out into the world that Meghan Markle, if it don't work out, I'd smash. Now, weird segue back into missing children.
Anyway, so no, to tie it in, you were linking sex traffickers and the premium that is paid for people of color to these exotic men who actually attach themselves to women of color.
Yeah, and there's this hotel that I work by, and I'm sure you've passed it a few times, right? As you're coming out the parking lot, you make that right. There's that hotel. That hotel's been ran up in at least 4 times in the past couple of years for some old sex trafficking shit. And what these people do is and these are the po pimps. They travel the Gulf Coast, basically, of Texas, Florida,
and they do that for different events.
And they would, when Backpage was still around, they would have listings on Backpage, but they were trafficking these girls, and they would groom these girls from a young age, from 14 years old, 15 years old. And you give a 14, 15-year-old girl $500? Shit.
That's money.
And all you got to do is...
Should they give you $500 right now?
Me?
Yes, you.
I take it.
Of course, that's what I say.
I take it. But nah, you give, those little girls who probably don't really come from much, $400 or $500, and they're like, oh shit. And then you start building up their esteem. You build it up, build them up, build them up, build them up. Now all you got to do is get out here and fuck these dudes, and you could be making triple that. But what happens is you start making less than that because now I'm taking your money.
It. Right. So you mentioned these children not coming from affluent backgrounds, or, the $500 seeming like a lot of money. That goes back to what we were saying about foster kids. More often than not, these are the children who go missing and exploited for sex trafficking purposes. And since we're talking about children of color and missing, and you're from that area, DC has a good bit of missing children or
Boys and girls.
girls of color. Y'all have, like, I think as of this year, there's like 500 or so.
It's a lot. It's a lot. There was a hashtag started maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago about the missing kids in DC.
Right.
That shit went nowhere.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
so-
we are missing a ton of young black girls from DC. Some boys too, though.
and that just goes to the point that we're making today. You have within 1 year in one little district
Mm-hmm.
over 500 missing Black, Hispanic, and other children of color. And there's an outcry that's made, but then what happens?
Nobody listens. See,
Now, say that, flip that. Say it was 500 white girls. What you think would have happened?
helicopter searches, road checks, like what they call them, where they stop you on the side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading Delaware Online, and there's also a shit ton of black children missing from Delaware. Now this is what's crazy. I'm actually going to read some names. Just read some of the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because where it says more information, it says where they may be traveling to. I find that odd. But Ramona April Paget Brooks, missing since July 24th, 2019, from Newcastle. I'm assuming that's in Delaware. Date of birth, 12/23/2001. Age, when she went missing, 17. Age now, 17. Sex, female, race, black, hair color, brown, eye color, brown. Height, 5'3", weight, 162. More information. Ramona may travel to Daytona Beach, Florida. Unity Forney, missing since March 22nd, 2019, from Wilmington, Delaware. Date of birth, 1/26/2002. Age when she went missing, 17. Age now, 17. Sex, female, race, black, hair color, eye color, brown. Height, 4'7", weight, 200 pounds. More information. This is not the first time that Unity has been reported missing.
Mm.
So that, like, where you see stuff like that, that's
Like I
kinda-
said, that law enforcement presupposes these children run away. That they get that is, I can almost guarantee you, some black mother calls up and says, my daughter or my son has gone missing. They ask how old they are. They may say 16, 17.
and that was the thing. 17 for both of those women, right?
Right. Like, it immediately, I can almost guarantee that what starts rolling in their mind is, oh, they ran away.
Well, here's another. Taisha Miller, missing from Wilmington, Delaware. Date of birth, 4/5/2001. Age when she went missing, 17. Age now, 17. Sex, female, race, black, hair, eye color, brown. Height, 5'3", weight, 218. More information. She may be in the company of an adult female. They may travel to Baltimore, Maryland. Myra Carrillo Cardona, missing since April 7th, 2018, from Middletown. Date of birth, July 13th, 2004. Age she went missing, 13. Age now, 15. Sex, female, race, Hispanic, hair, eye color, brown. Height, 4'11", weight, 90 pounds. Jontel Johnson, missing since February 3rd, 2010, missing from Newark. Date of birth, September 8th, 1994. Age when she went missing, 15. Age now, 25. Sex, female, race, black, hair, eye color, brown, height 5'2", weight 120. More information. She may be in the company of an adult male. They may still be in the local area, or they may travel to Wilmington, Delaware, or Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Jontel may be in the need of medical attention. She was pregnant when she disappeared. And last one. Now, this isn't the last one on the list. This is just the last one I'm going to read. Sean White, missing since December 8th, 2002. Missing from Wilmington. Date of birth, November 6th, 2002. Age when missing, 1 month. Age now, 16. Sex, male. Race, black. Hair color, brown. Eye color, brown. Weight, 10 pounds. Height, 1 foot, 8 inches. More information. He was last seen with his father on December 8th, 2002. The child's father had been located, but the child's whereabouts remain unknown. Sean was last seen wearing green and white pajamas and a gray Mickey Mouse snowsuit. He has long eyelashes and thick eyebrows. So, they still fucking babies. And when you look at the common thing, other than all of these being children of color, you have most of them between 15, 17 years old.
Mhm.
And
Perfect age to be trafficked.
right, sure, kids run away. I would think that a child, in order to be considered a runaway, I'm sorry, I need some kind of a track record suggesting that you have run away multiple times. So if I'm a police officer responding to someone calling and saying, yo, my kid's missing. Has your kid ever run away? If they say no, okay, we're going to treat this as something else. But if you say yes, they've ran away numerous times.
Right.
That's
like you
different.
said, yeah, but as well as I do, as well as our listeners and our viewers know, that when it comes to children of color, there's a presupposition. So not only that, think about the makeup of law enforcement.
Mostly white men.
Right.
Mhm.
So when you get a phone call or you place a phone call, who's going to come out?
Mostly white men.
And then when you start talking, what's going to go through their head? It's not going to be, well, ma'am,
What's for dinner?
do they have a history of running away?
Right.
It's going to be, oh, she's probably with a friend, probably ran away, probably did whatever. Oh, because the very first thing I'm going to do is look where I am, make a conclusion based on the surroundings, make a conclusion based on the person that I'm talking to. And that is human nature to do so. And last I checked, cops are human, they do it. And that's the issue. That's why we are trying to shed some light on this, because as with everything else, we are disproportionately affected by things like this.
I can tell you. Do you know how many times I technically went missing as a child?
I'm sure
a lot.
Hundreds of times.
So I was never reported missing. The reason being is
because you had a pattern.
Exactly.
Right.
My mama knew that I was out chasing some little girl or whatever, skipping school and doing all kinds of shit. So I've never been reported missing. But I wanted to kind of close this episode with this. We talked about the 5 requirements for an Amber Alert.
Right.
I want to repeat them because if anybody finds themselves in a situation where your child's been abducted or is missing, know the criteria, and even if it doesn't fit the criteria, make it fit the criteria just for the extra bonus.
Call. Before you do that, I want to say call. Do not wait 48 to 24 hours because every second counts. Call. That old saying, the squeaky wheel gets the oil?
Grease.
Oil, grease, jack, game, bacon. Don't matter. Thing is, make noise. And if you don't do it, have some of your family members do it. If you can't afford to do it, there are so many resources out there. And on the show site for this episode, we'll put some of the links to different resources. There are resources out there for people of color in relation to this, because we are so disproportionately affected by it, and a lot of us don't know what to do in this situation. We will put links out there for you if you know somebody, if it happens to somebody. I know the very first thing you won't think is, ooh, Black Law and Legal Lies just thought about that. But if it should, you spoke about that, if it should come to, back to your memory, the links will be there. But first and foremost, like I said at the beginning, call the cops. Keep calling.
Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, to kind of wrap this episode up, sometimes you have to exaggerate when speaking to law enforcement or speaking to anybody. And an example I'll use is our down power pole a couple of weeks ago. Hurricane tropical storm knocked the power pole over. We had been complaining about it for months, for 2 years almost. Nothing was done. Nothing. So it caught a tree on fire on our property.
Mm-hmm.
Fire department came out, put the fire out. We had to pay to have this tree chopped down, removed from our property, right? Power company did nothing. So here comes this latest tropical storm, Olga, and knocks the damn pole over, and it sets my neighbor's tree on fire. So this time, we called that morning. It was like, yo, y'all pole got knocked over. No response. No one showed up. Nothing. So then the Lions caught the tree on fire. So we called and we're like, yo, the whole tree on fire, son. The whole tree on fire. Yo, it's like, and then they're like, how far is it away from the house? It's like 20 feet from the house, but the tree like 80, 100 feet tall, man. It's going to fall on their house. Y'all need to do something, man. This shit's crazy. Them people going to die. They were out here in 5 minutes to shut the power off. Fire department put the fire out, and then the following day they put in a new pole. Something that we've been trying to do for 2 years. And I've been saying this shit about the South for the longest. The South is reactive. They are not proactive.
That's true.
Like you look at all, and I noticed this now after that situation, about to get back on topic, but riding down the street, how many power poles are just leaning from all these winds and all these storms and shit. Like, that's not acceptable. Up north, that would not fly. In DC, that shit would not fly.
Of course not, but we're very laissez-faire around here.
Exactly. Yeah. So I tell that story to say, if you have a missing child, or you know somebody that has a missing child, or you have to just talk to law enforcement about anything and you need something done expeditiously, you sometimes have to exaggerate. Sometimes you have to know what they're looking for so you can make your situation,
your reality fit their perception.
Exactly.
That's what we were saying. And to piggyback off that, call law enforcement.
The 5 requirements for an Amber Alert. There is reasonable belief by law enforcement that an abduction has occurred. Call 911.
Call them, and you, once again, reiterating, you do not have to wait 24 to 48 hours.
You do not.
You do not have to wait. It's an emergency situation. Call the police as soon as you become aware. As we said, make your reality fit their perception. Do what you have to do to get your child home. So
you heard screaming and you saw a car speeding.
Absolutely.
Off.
And as I said, we are going to put links to resources specifically for people of color, because they're out there in relation to missing and exploited children.
100%. There's enough descriptive information about the victim and the abduction. Again, that's a requirement. You saw a car, you heard some screams, you heard some racket. Even if you didn't, say you did. You're only trying to get law enforcement to take you serious and get out here faster. Law enforcement needs to believe that the child is in imminent danger of serious bodily injury or death. I would assume anybody who has been abducted is
in imminent danger.
Exactly. The child has to be under 18 years old, and the child's name and other critical data elements, including the child abduction flag, have been entered into the NCIC system. So there you have it. If somebody you know, like I said, make a production out of it, make it dramatic, even if it's as simple as your child didn't come home from school.
Right.
Make a production out of it.
That is correct.
So this has been another episode of Black Law and Legalized, where we appreciate your support week in and week out. You can keep up with us at Black Law Podcast across the board. I am Dan, and that makes me uncomfortable. You can keep up with me on Twitter and IG at I am Dan on drugs.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm just Dan. And you can follow me on Twitter at I Tell Legalized. Once again, we appreciate you listening to us, as Dan said, week in and week out. Also, if anything that we've said can help you or someone that you know, we mentioned the links. As in an emergency situation, something that you heard on Black Law and Legalized may not come to your recollection immediately, but in this particular topic, it may trigger, oh, I just heard that. And you could offer someone some help.
Yeah, what you get is, and we say this all the time, is I heard somewhere that it doesn't even matter where you
hear it. Exactly right. So maybe something that we've said today can help you offer advice to someone who may be going through this stressful situation. And if just one person can use something that we've said, we feel that we've done our jobs.
100%. Until next week, people, I would just like to say that I'm thoroughly impressed that I've been able to hold my piss for 1 hour and 6 minutes. That's skill, son. Peace
Bye,
out.
y'all.